Welcome back to Bad Take Philly, and today we're going to be previewing the Sixers playoff series against the Toronto Raptors.
This is definitely a big one for Sixers fans. You go back to 2019 and how that series ended with the Kawhi shot. I know a lot of Sixers, myself included, think that that was our best chance so far in the post-process era to win a title. So hopefully we can come out and get the series victory. Let's get into like things that Toronto does well. To start, they are second in the league at offensive rebounding, so it's going to be important this series to keep Toronto off the glass. They also are second in forcing turnovers, and they convert that into fast break points. So it's really important that the Sixers also limit their turnovers because that gets into what Toronto doesn't do well, and that's their half-court offense. They don't have a half-court offense at all. It's the worst out of all the playoff teams. They're actually 27th in effective field goal percentage, which basically weighs threes as more than twos. So if you can keep them in their half-court offense, you have a really good shot at winning the series. Another positive that Toronto has, of course, is they have the championship pedigree from that 2019 playoff run. They don't have all their players that they did, but they still have Nick Nurse, who's a really good head coach. They have Siakam, and they still have Van Vliet. So they have players that have proven themselves to be winners in the playoffs. So all of this might not matter if we get what we think we were getting from that James Harden trade, and James Harden comes out to be the second best player in the series. So, Brendan, how does he do that?
Yeah, to win the series, I think he needs to have a huge jump from where he's been playing. Obviously, he's not been the player that we traded for. He's playing more like he did when he was in Houston and wanted out, and so it's been disappointing the past couple months. But if he plays at an elite level and really complements Joel and the rest of the offense and gets back on track, I think that we have a really good chance of winning and making a run in these playoffs. And so just some more like big factors that we need to do well in this series and moving forward. The bench needs to produce way more than they have been because they've been scoring like single digits in games, and it's just not been good. So we definitely need better bench play, and we need to take advantage of home games because Thibault is not going to be able to play in Toronto due to his vaccine situation. So the home games are very important, and that kind of goes into Siakam and his role for Toronto because Thibault is going to be covering him when we're at home. But it's a big question mark when we're in Toronto because one of the last home games of the regular season, we obviously didn't have Thibault because we were in Toronto. And Embiid guarded him for some of the game, and it just was not good. He was scoring every one-on-one like opportunity, and when they had possessions where Embiid had to get drawn out to the three-point line, it just opened up the paint, and it's not a good situation. So we also had Tobias Harris covering him, and he got bodied the entire time. So it is not a good situation. We got to take advantage of those home games. And so a little bit off topic of the playoffs. What's with Doc Rivers hating Philly, Dakota?
Well, we talked about in our last video, which you totally should check out, about Alec Boehm, if he hates Philly. And I think we came to the conclusion that he didn't. But if I'm a juror right here and Doc Rivers is on trial, I am voting that he hates Philly. He had this kind of just weird vendetta almost against Paul Reed and not wanting to give him more playing time, even though, he comes out, he gives you a spark that you don't have with old DeAndre Jordan. You should just stick him on the bench. Don't give him a plane ticket to Toronto. Keep him at home. Doc Rivers said that he knows more about basketball than we do. And he said, Paul Reed. What's that?
That is false.
Oh, very false. No, we definitely know more about basketball. He said that Paul Reed, he doesn't play against bigger lineups. So this series, Toronto, their tallest player is Precious Achiuwa at 6'9". So you would think that means more Paul Reed minutes. So that's what we're asking for on Bad Take Philly. We don't want to see DeAndre Jordan. We want to see Paul Reed, and we don't want to see Doc Rivers being a narcissist and telling us that he knows more about basketball and telling us, oh, you want me to bench Embiid? No one's saying bench Embiid. We just want to see Paul Reed in the 10 minutes that Embiid sits out, which could be a crucial 10 minutes when you don't have your MVP out on the court. Like what happens with those backup center minutes? Give it to Paul Reed. Don't put Jordan out there. You don't want to see that.
Yeah, and we're going to get into series predictions in a second, but if I had to guess, Dakota, I mean, the way it looks, I think Doc would predict like Raptors in 4 or 5 because I mean he's anti-Philly if I've ever seen it.
Well, I would definitely take Nick Nurse in the coaching matchup over Doc Rivers. Not a fan of Doc Rivers. If he got fired, if we were to lose this series, might in the long run turn out to be a good thing for the Sixers. We move on without Doc Rivers. So let's get into our predictions for the series. What do you got going down?
I have a pretty optimistic prediction. I think that we're going to take it in 5. I think we're going to take advantage of those home games that we talked about when Thibel's out there, play some good defense. And I mean, if you look at last season when we played the Wizards in the first round, Tobias played very well. And like we pretty much like dominated most of the games we won. We played very well in that series. And so I think that we're going to have a strong start to the playoffs. I don't know if we're going to continue that, but I think that we're going to take it in 5.
I am not as optimistic as you. I think one of the biggest things for the Sixers this year that's been plaguing them is this like seemingly like when they come out and it's a big game, the Sixers don't match the energy that you would think. Like that Brooklyn game a few weeks ago, the whole Ben Simmons return, like it only seemed that Embiid was ready. He was almost like too ready to play, where he gets himself psyched up and usually leads to not as great as performances. But you'd rather see that than see just a little farther effort from everyone else. So I think that could play a factor into this series if they're not hustling as much as Toronto will, because Toronto is going to come out, they're going to work. You're going to have to earn every point, every rebound against them. Another big thing, of course, is the Thibault not being there. Siakam, he went off for 37 points that most recent game against them. So he's going to win you a game or 2. But I still will take the Sixers in 7. You have potentially, we'll see how Harden plays, the 2 best players in the series. So I think that goes a long way in how this gets decided, having the 2 best players in the series.
Yeah, and I could see the series going like any way, honestly. But one of my reasons for being optimistic is I do think Harden's going to make that jump. I don't think that he's just going to keep playing with like just walking around the court, not playing any defense. I think he's going to. Obviously, he's not like a superstar role. Like he's not the guy like he was in Houston and like he wanted to be. But I think he's going to embrace that role. So hopefully he makes a jump, and hopefully our bench scores some points. Hopefully Doc doesn't sabotage us. We'll see.
Yeah. So hopefully, we get revenge on Toronto from 2019. But we would be remiss if we didn't mention a little PSA for any people that might go as certified lover boy. Drake, I know you're watching this. I know we're very popular. I know you care what we think. You're not a coach. You're not a player. You're a fan. You have those nice courtside seats, so you can sit. When Siakam, gets a bucket, you can cheer for him, whatever. But you're not a coach. I don't want to see you and Nick Nurse in the same camera angle. I don't want to see it. Just stay off to the side. Let Toronto and Philly play it out. Don't make yourself the center of attention. Like I know you do. I don't want to see it. No one else wants to see it. You're annoying. Just get out of the way. That's all.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah, so that'll do it from us. Give this video a like, subscribe, tell a friend or 2 or 3. We could really appreciate it. Give us anything. We'll take it.